New year, detox.
You got
Let's
it.
clean it out.
All right, it's time for spring cleaning, okay? So what are we going to do? Okay, we've had enough drink, we've had enough food, we've had enough merriment, okay, for the year. I mean, really, you do know why we have these holidays in December, right? Okay, it's because that's when the days are the shortest. The summer, winter solstice, so on and so forth. These are all rather interesting pagan holidays to begin with. Why? Because people were bummed out. They had to get out of their huts and caves and whatnot to go about and have a good time. And there was a head count. See who was still alive, right? Okay, this was the middle of the winter. So, but what do? Okay, we now eat plenty instead of laying down fat for the rest of the hibernation. We end up getting fat, and generally speaking, 3 to 4, maybe 5 pounds gets laid down this time of the year. The average person, they spend the rest of the year trying to get it off, and they might get 1 pound off, and then year after year after year, it's kind of like what used to happen up north, laying down snow and ice. It gets thicker and thicker and thicker, and we're getting fatter, fatter, and fatter. And there are a couple things that we can do to speed up the process to get the stuff out of the system. And in the industry, they call it detoxification. Now, to an MD, to a medical doctor, okay, they're going to go, there's no such thing. This is utter baloney. Okay, until you simply point out the fact that we spend 80 to 90% of what we expend in terms of energy to detoxify ourselves from the environment. Life was not possible on this planet, okay, after oxygen was introduced into the atmosphere until we learned ways to detoxify ourselves from the oxygen molecule. People think, oxygen is the molecule of life. It's actually the molecule of death. So we spend our time in terms of evolution, billion years or more, okay, to get used to and finally thrive in an oxygen environment, which is, guess what? It's highly oxidative. We talk to each other in the vernacular, looking for antioxidant. What's the best antioxidant? We're going to get an antioxidant shake. And then why? It's all a matter of detoxification. So you point this out to your physician, okay, that in terms of evolution, okay, that is what it's all about. Now, where do we detoxify ourselves, our cells and whatnot from the environment? Well, it starts at the lungs and it ends down where the sun doesn't shine. The long and short of it is every organ system that we've got has 80% of it it's energy expenditure, with perhaps the difference here being in the brain and nervous system, which doesn't have enough in terms of detoxification. So what do? We clean house. It's like taking a leaf blower to your living room. So if things get a little moldy, if things get a little dusty, if things get a little cluttered, you take the leaf blower. So what do? Do you start at the front door or do you start at the back door? Okay, well, you start at the back door.
Really?
Why? Okay, because as you start to stir things up, you have to have an exit for these products of, let's say, a metabolism that are kind of lying around. So people look at the liver and go, we're going to start with a liver detox. You can usually tell an amateur at that point. Okay, these are individuals that don't have a clue as to what's going on with regards to metabolism, health, physiology, or anything else. You have to start with blowing out the pipes. When we used to race, I did that NASCAR thing for a while. It's long enough to know that I couldn't do it well. You always started by heating the engine up, heating your tires up, and blowing out the pipes. Okay, if you take a vintage vehicle out, which I just did recently, you blow the pipes out. You knock the carbon off the rings, knock the carbon off the valves, and let it rip. Larry Perry does a good job at describing this, but he sells his own products doing it, so I won't push them for him. But, so what do? Well, you start with a colon. Okay, you have to. If you start with a colon and getting people moving to the bathroom on a regular basis, meaning 2 to 3 times a day, you can then start moving yourself up the GI tract. So you go from the colon to the small bowel to the stomach and liver. Okay, now, so that's the means and mechanism of starting and performing a detox. Okay, is it expensive? Only if you don't research it, only if you don't really care enough about yourself to read about this stuff, but it should not be expensive at all. But all the while, okay, you're keeping the lungs clear. Okay, and again, if you're clever, you'll do 2 things at one time. So what I teach my patients to do is to get 2 bangs or 3 bangs for their buck. And all the while, you're getting the skin detoxed. Who the heck ever talks about the skin being detoxed? Well, the skin is the largest organ in your body. It's also the largest organ of detox. So if you've got lousy skin, or if you've got lousy skin hygiene, if you have lousy skin health, you're not going to detox very well. So what do you do? Okay, and that's so what we're going to do is we're going to start talking. Then we have a couple people that we've got on hold here to chat with me. But in the meantime, you start with the colon. How do you do that? Oils. People do stupid stuff. They're out there sucking down detergents, things like Dulcolax to get themselves going. It's a detergent. It's an irritant. So what you do is you start with oils. What oils do I prefer? My preference is to use flaxseed oil. Okay, because, you take enough of it at bedtime, it goose greases the whole GI tract, gets it going, and then you add a little bit of enteric-coated aloe. And what that does is it squeezes the toothpaste out of the tube. And if you can get that to start, then you proceed with the liver, stomach, and small bowel. So why would you do that? Well, let's think it through. Okay, so the liver drains into the small bowel. Okay, that's just the way it is. The biliary tract is part of this. It's like a little reservoir. But what happens is, with a lot of this junk that you're trying to get rid of, in particular cholesterol salts, in particular estrogen salts, they end up being reabsorbed through something called enterohepatic recirculation. So if you don't have a rapid flow, that's a rapid transit time, okay, from your teeth to your tush, okay, this stuff gets reabsorbed, and you keep reabsorbing the cholesterol salts. That's why you can't get rid of them. So the first thing that you do is to speed up this process. Then you start emptying the gallbladder. Usually takes 2 weeks, maybe 3 weeks before you dump the gallbladder into this, because if you do it any faster, you'll end up with a gallbladder attack. Okay, it's kind of a bad thing. It hurts. I've had it. It's not a lot of fun. And then as you get the process going, you then squeeze the liver, basically. What you do is you metabolically push it so that it increases biliary secretion, which can now flow into through the ampulla vater into the small bowel and out the old dirt road. And that's how it's done. Okay, wow. That's the process. And if you pick your agents, you pick your medications right, you're going to get the lungs at the same time. How do you detox the skin? You detox the skin again with what? With oil. You absorb the stuff through the gut. You can tell a horse that's been fed well. You can tell a cat that's been fed well by the coat. Okay, you look at them and you can see it. How do you make a dog's coat shiny? You give them tuna fish oil. Okay, and then they come out shiny. They may stink a little bit, but they're shiny. It's kind of an old trick. It works for farm animals. The FA, what do you call the Future Farmers of America? The FFA. They'll teach you this stuff. Ask any 10-year-old farmer kid. They'll go, oh yeah, that's how you do it. And why are we any different than the farm animals? We're getting more and more like them, actually. So that's what we do. But the one thing you have to remember when you do a detox, and that's that the good goes out with the bad.
Ouch.
Oh, think about it. Okay, so what you don't want to do is to use that leaf blower and to go having to run down the street to catch up with your pillows. Okay, so you have to replace as you do the detox. So you take it through the GI tract, you're dumping it through the GI tract. The whole process should take 4 to 6 weeks, no more. And the healthiest patients I've got do this every 90 days or so. But at a bare minimum, you've got to do this once a year, and this is the time. This is the time to do it because it allows you to start the diet process. You can't lose 40 pounds in 40 days unless you clean out the GI tract. In fact, you can't lose 40 pounds in 40 days anyway. That's our little secret. Okay, but I shouldn't say